Alright guys, it's middle of November. We just landed in the backcountry. We're in here for the next 10-ish days or so, chasing mule deer. The rut should just be kicked in, and there's a rifle season going on right now, so there's any weapon season. I'm carrying the flintlock because I like to do things like that. But last time we were in here was 2015, I believe, and I was bow hunting. Ended up killing a little small 3-point, but we were seeing a lot of deer last time we were in here. So I think with the little bit more range on the flinter, I think we should have a pretty good chance of getting a decent buck. But we're gonna go ahead and just load up the packs and start hiking upriver and get up here a few miles, just start glassing these hills and looking for bucks. See what we can find. I've never killed a big mule deer, so I'd like to hold out for one. Not only because they're more difficult, they're more difficult to find, they're more difficult to approach, but also a big mule deer buck they're twice as big as a doe or a small buck, so there's just a ton more meat there. This is the drainage that I was thinking about going up. Now, we ran into some guys back down the trail that said that they were headed this way, headed up this little creek, and he said there was a couple other camps in there. So what I'm thinking is there's a not really nice flat over here. We might just set up for tonight over here and hike up this ridge here behind me this evening and just hunt around here this evening. That way, I think if we get up to that knob, we should be able to do some glassing back into this basin where I was thinking about going. The reason I had picked this ridge is because my buddy Brad Brooks had said that he was in here a couple of years back and actually found some water up there. And that's really the big limiter here on where you can go, where you can stay, where you can camp. This is dry country, and there's no snow right now, at least not, down here. If you get way up in the top end of these basins, you'll find a little bit of snow. But if we did get up there and couldn't find the water, that's a big gamble, And so we need to just figure out if that's something we want to try. Good spot for the night. So put us in good position. We can do some glassing from up there this evening, and then depending on what we decide to do, we'll be in good spot to take off hiking from tomorrow. Well, the only time I've ever looked for a rock in Idaho and not been able to find one. We about got camp set up, get the firewood cut, got some water filtering, and we're just about ready to head up the ridge. They like to bed in these brushy draws and on the timbered slopes, but as that sun starts dipping down, they ought to start coming out of there and feeding on these open hillsides so we can see them. It is warm right now, but we've got I think we've got some weather coming in here in a couple days. Hopefully it'll bring some snow, get these deer moving. I got some questions about my sling that I was using for carrying this thing on that elk hunting video. And it's a super fancy, custom made piece of a ratchet strap. Even got the red and black tone racing stripe things. Available at twistedstave.com. twistedstave.com. Alright, let's go find something. Adventure. Upward.
We're rolling.
No, I wouldn't really have anything to say.
Yeah.
Just thinking that my wife could probably hike faster than you.
Yeah.
So we've been working our way up this ridge for the last couple hours and just kind of peeking off down this shaded side. It's getting about the time of day when they're getting up, getting out on these open slopes. Saw one big forkhorn down here, and then there's a couple of does just, I don't know, 125 yards or so on the other side of this rock. But I haven't looked over, I haven't peeked over to see if there's anything else. Just kind of getting ready just in case there is a buck over there. I saw that there's a bigger doe down behind that spruce tree there, or that fir, and I just saw a big body. I thought it was a buck. There's a big burned slope over there across the river about a mile. I haven't seen anything over there yet, but it looks like there should be deer in there. So we're seeing a few deer, but not a lot of deer. But the weather is pretty mild, so hopefully if we get this front that's supposed to be coming in, hopefully it'll drop a bunch of snow and push some deer down. Get cold when that sun goes down. I think we'll just ease down this ridge and see if we can see something down below us where that little forkhorn went around. Not bad first day. Saw a few deer. Beef stroganoff. It's actually elk stroganoff. There's not a very good ton. more like a paddle than a spoon, but it'll be a spoon before the trip's over. It's gonna start as a paddle. It's about 6, a little after 6:30 or so. A little bit late to get started, but it's still dark. We'll have some coffee and then figure out what we're gonna do. That's a legal buck, but I'm not ready for him yet. Just a young deer. So just above camp here, we've got a legal buck, but he's he's pretty young. So right about now, it should just be getting turned on. That buck's about 200 yards. I think I could go around and get on him, get within range of him, but first real day, you know, small buck. I'm not ready to drop the hammer on him. Hopefully I don't regret that. I'd be real happy to have him on the last day. So I think we're just gonna get on this ridge here, and they should all be bedded by now, or most of them. Just kind of look down these brushy draws, see if we can see something bedded. I don't know if they're rutting hard enough for those bucks to be chasing all day long now, but it should be getting there any day now. But when it's really cranking, those bucks will just contour these big ridges all day. Just checking, going from groups of does to groups of does. It's a doe and a couple of fawns on this next ridge looking at us. I don't see any bucks. I think that's that same group we were looking at yesterday. So we've made it pretty good ways up the ridge, and there looks like a really nice saddle right here, and a nice long ridge going down. So we'll have to, as we come up to this, we'll have to really keep an eye on the top of that ridge, because they like to bed up there. They'll pick you out coming across this hill, skyline yourself, make yourself really obvious. But we might just get over here so we can see down in there and just kind of watch that for a little bit. That looks like a good spot for something to be cruising back and forth. There's a good trail coming down, just right down the middle of this thing, and then I see a couple other ones coming in from the side. But it wouldn't surprise me if there was some bedded right here below us, and then those little timbered ridges coming down there. They like that brushy stuff to bed in. Hang out here for a little bit. when I'm out here in this big open country like this, it's hard for me to stop and sit and wait, even though I know that's the best way to find a deer and have a deer or get to within range of a deer. But I always want to know what's on the other side of that next ridge. It's hard to resist that pull. There's always the chance of running into just a giant mule deer back here. They're here. They're just few and far between. You know, getting within 100 yards of one of these deer in this open country with not only yourself and making a shot, but also having a cameraman along and trying to get everything on film, it just adds many more levels of complications to things. Deer coming through the saddle right here below us. Just a small buck, 3-point. We'll just let him walk for today. It's probably 80 yards. There's another deer coming over. There's a little four-cornered buck up here. A couple does just coming across the skyline. There's 3 bucks now on this ridge here. They're all small. Like 2 forkies and 1 like small 3-point, maybe a small 4-point, but nothing big yet, nothing mature yet. Although that 3 or 4-point, he's a big bodied deer. But they're starting to move around a little bit. You can't get an idea of the scale of this country from looking at aerials or maps or anything. It's just, until you're out here, it's like incomprehensible how big this place is. I'll wrap it for the day. I can't see my iron sights anymore. So for the first full day, I'd say that was not a bad day. We're not seeing a lot of deer, but we are seeing deer. I'm not sure. We saw probably, I don't know, altogether maybe 20 deer today. Maybe 4 different bucks, all pretty small. But it's just getting started, so I like our chances. So day 3, really the second full day of hunting. Got no plan. That's the way I like it. Go with the flow. So the deer have been really scarce. We're just not seeing the numbers like I remember last time we were in here. You know, but last time we also had a lot of weather before we ever went in. So I think, you know, a lot of those deer that were in the high country just kind of came down. They were already here when we got here. So there's 3 deer on the hillside right here. They're just like not concerned with us at all. They're looking at us, but they're not just feeding whatever. They feel safe. And they are. The weather this year's been very mild, so I think most of the deer are still up in the high country. They just haven't come down yet. A doe and 2 fawns here. A couple more right here. Just kind of watch. There's a face right here. They're going up. We'll watch right here for a little bit. See if a buck goes across there. I don't think they'll probably bed on that ridge right there. Weather's supposed to, today's Sunday, weather's supposed to come in tomorrow. Or tonight. I just think the deer are a little bit higher than we are right now. Okay, so tomorrow is windy. 90% chance of precip. Fresh ground. We're not seeing as many deer down here as I would have expected to see. And so we're just gonna pack camp and move up this basin, I don't know, mile and a half, maybe 2 miles. They're looking at the map. There's a long ridge that comes right down to the creek, and we should be able to camp right down at the base of that and then hike up that ridge in the morning. And that'll put us a little bit farther up drainage from where we were last night when we saw those deer. But that area should be accessible from that place too, so hopefully that's the ticket. Starting to get a little drizzle coming down. Just don't want my powder to get wet. Bet that thing would have some stories to tell. So this is the, we're a little over halfway to where I want to camp tonight, but this is the basin we were looking into last night. There's a few deer I can see up in this kind of burned timber up here. But that whole face, like that's where all those deer were yesterday that we were looking at. So we got up here to where I was looking at on the map and found the perfect campsite. Got to looking around and there's a tent set up over there, so we could set up here. I mean, it's a great campsite, but I'd feel kind of like a jackass setting up that close to that fella, so we'll just go back down here, just out of sight, get around the bend so we don't, I mean, I wouldn't want somebody setting up right next to me. Gotta get them time lapses. So y'all don't see all this stuff most of the time. You just see the finished product. Set a tent up. So we're all set up in a new spot, and there's a couple of ridges here that we have access to. This one right here I think is going to take us about kind of over there towards where we were yesterday, but on the other side of the ridge. And then this one, I think we might hike up this evening, just to, probably not going to hike up there too far. Just hike up a little ways and till just enough till we can do some glassing and just save our legs for tomorrow. We've been putting in a lot of climbing, so I think we'll have a big day tomorrow. I want to try to make it all the way to the top of this ridge. It's a couple thousand feet up there, so hopefully we'll have a relatively easy afternoon. So it's getting close to 5:30 or so. Probably got another half hour, maybe, of shooting light. Probably 20 minutes. We have not seen a single deer this afternoon, which is kind of baffling to me. I would have thought that with this front coming in that they'd have been moving, out feeding heavy, but no, we haven't seen anything. I know they're in here, they're just not out feeding where we can see them. I'm hoping the weather turns it around. We'll see. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to get cold enough to really push the deer, but we'll see. So second full day at hunting, and we didn't do so good today. So went out this morning, saw some does and I think one little forky, and moved camp. Ended up this evening hiking up there and didn't see anything, and but I didn't see anything on any of the hillsides, so it just kind of makes me wonder if they just weren't moving. But we'll head back up there in the morning, and hopefully they're out feeding. I'm gonna try to get a little bit of an early start this morning and get up this ridge a little ways where you can see some of that basin up there before it gets light. Hopefully they're moving. Last I checked the weather, it was calling for rain tonight, and then later in the week it's supposed to get cold and have some rain or snow, hopefully snow. Need some antlers. That was fun. There was about 6 does just right on the ridge. I was watching some that were about 100 yards, and then there was some just right on the other side of these rocks I didn't see. But I didn't see any bucks at all. Just needs to put some antlers on some. Grab my pack and we'll head on up the ridge. There was a pretty good 4-point. It looked like a 4-point or a big 3-point. He was bedded. He went down into this timbered draw just on the other side of this ridge. Did you see us? And no, he was heading this way. Let's get up on this hillside, just kind of watch in case he comes across there. I don't know. I don't know if the wind swirled up there or if there was just one up high and that could see us. But they all went. Well, it's a long day, but a good day. Seeing deer pretty much all day long, and saw 3 good bucks, 2 really good bucks, and then one that was okay, and then one little forky, maybe another one, I don't remember. It was more than we've been seeing. Just wasn't able to close the distance on anything. The 2 bucks just kind of left on their own accord, the 2 bigger ones, and then we tried to stalk these other ones, but just they ended up, I don't know, they probably saw us. Just gotta keep after it and get a little closer. So we got a pretty good shower down here last night, rain, but it's just now starting to come down a little bit of snow, and I can kind of see up on the hill. It looked like it was mostly snow up there, so that'll make the deer pop out a little better if it sticks around. I think we're just going to head up this same ridge, get up there kind of where we were yesterday afternoon, just right up on that peak, and just kind of be able to look down into those other drainages. I think we pushed some of those deer up in there. So hopefully the weather's calling for it to clear up today, but I'd love for it to just keep snowing. So we got does on this side, we got does above us, we got does on a knob over here. It's a little, kind of like a little saddle right here. There's more deer over here, so this just looks like a place that a buck would cruise back and forth to the slope of that hill there. Got probably 100-yard shot. But, I mean, something could pop up right here any minute. But over here should be able to see pretty good. This is the farthest we've gone so far in both elevation and distance, but we can't get close to anything. Haven't so far yet, but we did find a cool tree. with a shelter like already made. All you'd have to do is kind of do a little excavation. It's dry under there. It rained hard last night and it's all dry under there, so if I was a real hardcore dude, I'd come sleep under it tonight, but I'm not that hardcore. But maybe one day. I marked it on my maps in case I want to do that someday if I get real ambitious. There's a pack rat in there though, so you'd probably run across your face in the middle of the night. The deer have been elusive, scattered, and it's really spooky. Like way spookier than I remember them being last time I was in here. Way spookier. Makes it tough. So I just spotted the nicest buck that I've seen the whole trip. I mean, he was a nice buck. 120 yards, but it's too far, but there was trees and stuff in the way. I tried to make a stalk on him, and I don't know what happened. I don't know if the wind swirled or if they saw me or what, but the does ended up spooking off. I never saw that buck again. I just saw him once. So I eased up here and there was a smaller buck in there with him that he was chasing around, and the smaller buck came by, but the bigger buck never showed. But he was a good buck. I wish couldn't get any footage of him because it was too much stuff in the way. Ice covered rock. Requires two hands. Pretty treacherous descent. What is it, day 6? I think? I don't know. So they all kind of run together after a while. So we're starting to see more deer. Like, it seems like overnight, you know, after we got that little cold snap, these basins where we've been glassing for the last few days and just kind of seeing a few deer, now we're starting to see a lot of deer. So it's a little after 5 a.m., day 7, maybe, something like that. It's been a tough hunt so far. Just been finding it really difficult to get close to any deer. And the bucks are just, you know, pretty few and far between. But we are seeing them, and we're seeing some pretty good bucks. Just gotta, you know, find ourselves in that right position, right place, right time type thing. But, you know, we've only got just a few more days left in the season, and so getting to the point where I'm kind of starting to worry a little bit. Hiking up in the dark in a snowstorm. Fun stuff. We're starting to get things figured out, starting to get closer to deer. There's a few more deer around and more rutting activity. So we have arrived at the spot. We're on the ridge above where all those deer have been feeding. So we're just gonna pick a spot. There's a little rocky outcropping over here where we might be able to ease up. It's really quiet right now and the snow is squeaky, so we're gonna have to be real stealthy. Just kind of sit down and hopefully we can see this face. Now we just need the wind to stay in our favor and the deer to come close. The bucks are chasing does, deer are running around, and that's just helping with the stalk, and it's allowing me to get a little bit closer because the deer, you know, they're focused on things other than just trying to detect, you know, a predator moving in. I was easing my way along this, just kind of around this face, and there's one small little finger ridge over here, and just on the other side of it I could see some ears. There's a little doe bedded. There's at least one deer. I'm assuming that there's more. So we'll try to ease up around here and just creep up on top of them and just see if we can look down in there. But man, it is so hard with it being quiet like this. They're not going to go anywhere unless we bump them. They'll be there all day, so we might just, you know, wait for some wind or something. I don't know. Kind of at a loss for what to do now. Trying to sneak on these things.
Didn't see your buck go running off.
I missed. Had a pretty significant hang fire.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Pow! I'm sure it's flinched or something. But it was fun. That was cool. Got to sneak up on them while they were in their bed, and then I thought they were going to feed this way, but they ended up feeding down. I was probably 100 yards from them. But I felt good. I mean, had a good solid shooting sticks were set up and solid rest and everything. And it's just, I don't know, moisture.
Primitive weapon. That's what it is.
I'm not too bummed. I mean, it's like, I don't know if I want to shoot him or not.
Yeah, he was just barely legal.
Yeah, he's just a little guy, but still, I mean, pulled the trigger on something I wanted to die, but.
Yep.
Not too. I'd be really bummed if it was that buck we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
Had a pretty good missing streak here last couple of years. Yeah, I think most hunters go through a missing streak or a losing streak like this at least once in their career, but most of them do it in private.
The flintlock definitely presents some challenges, but I have put a lot of rounds through this rifle this year, and I feel very good about my confidence out to 100 yards or so. I think I just misjudged the range on that deer. Maybe I flinched. Who knows?
So we're getting pretty deep into the trip, and we're running low on fuel. Both battery banks are drained. Camera batteries are getting low. My headlamp just died. Getting low on coffee. Getting down to the wire. We got to get something done. It's time to warm up. think I've had all the fun I can have for today. I'll get back and fire that wood stove up and dry out a little bit. Well, another day. We got some snow last night, so should make the deer pop out a little better. Yesterday's plan was to hike up this ridge and then go all the way up to the top where we ran into that big buck, but we got sidetracked with some other deer. So that's the plan again today, unless we get sidetracked again, which isn't a bad thing.
By another buck.
Deer or deer.
50 yards.
Wherever you happen to find them.
Yeah.
We're back out here on the same ridge we were on last night, and there we could see about 20 deer, 20 does, but there's not a single buck in sight anywhere. Except for this one, there's like a little forky down here, like a little yearling. Oh, just a little bit of sun just makes you, it's awesome. Sitting there freezing your tail off, and then the sun peeks out, and you're just like, oh, thank God. Basking in it. So the last 2 days we've been seeing a lot more deer, like good numbers, like I remember the last time we were in here almost 10 years ago. So tomorrow really is it. It's the last full day of the hunt. You know, we've been seeing deer, we've been getting close to deer. There's lots of deer around, lots of deer moving. So all it takes is just being in the right place at the right time. Just trying to put myself out there on the hill and hopefully things will work out. But maybe not, who knows? We'll see tomorrow. Last day, snowing. Been getting it figured out, starting to see more deer. So I'm gonna head back up the ridge, take a little elevator ride, get up there, and shoot one. That's all there is to it. That thumb is freezing. Meh.
You hit him. Don't go down any farther. Stop right there. Stop.
I just shot a spike, and then I look up the hill, and there's a freaking giant buck right there, within range. But we got meat. Thank the Lord. I was, man, oh man. Holy cow, what a, he's down right here. I can see him, but good grief, what a hunt. That was just like, I was starting to think that I was not gonna get a deer on this one. When I first came out here, you know, I first started planning this hunt, thinking about coming out here, there was not a doubt in my mind that I was gonna get a buck, and a good buck. Like, thought I had a pretty good chance at a good buck. But man, about day 7 or 8, starts getting doubt starts creeping in. But that big buck was standing there the whole time, just probably 80 yards away. Big one got away this time, but maybe next time, maybe not. All I know is we got tenderloins on the hillside. We gotta go get. I watched him fall. He should be just right here, right up behind one of these logs. He's over here. It's my trophy.
The mute.
My wilderness trophy. Not quite the buck that I was after, but heck, I am happy because I was getting pretty downtrodden. I didn't think that I was gonna get one. Oh, so he ain't much on antlers, but he'll eat good. Razor blade.
Yeah.
Get that off, no beef cow. So normally I would have my game bags with me, but because I was trying to cut as much weight as possible on the trip in here, I left them at the airstrip. So we're gonna take my fleece, make a game bag for kind of all the little odds and ends, back straps and neck meat and stuff between the ribs and all that fun stuff. Nice healthy looking deer liver. Not bad, actually. Oh, there's a worm. No, it's good. Gonna be a feast. tonight. I'm gonna make a rack for my gun with these little antlers. I don't know, maybe 80 pounds maybe, I guess. Okay.
One step at a time.
Never had to work so hard for a deer in all my life. Just to kill him and now to get him back home. Whew, done to it, piece of cake. Now this jacket's gonna come off before I get done with this.
I think you're gonna get hot.
Yeah. All right. If that hides too much, don't worry about it. Just taking a little breather at the top of the ridge before we start down towards camp. But I was thinking, it doesn't look, coming out of this hunt, it doesn't look quite right without a big rack on the back of this pack, but yeah, as much as I'd love to be hauling antlers out of here, it's pretty cool. Get a little buck on the last day of the hunt after 10 days of hiking these hills and chasing these deer around with the flintlock. That's awesome. Made a good shot on him. He didn't go very far. And now we got mountain veal. Just got to get it back to camp and back home. Liz will be happy with me. She won't be disappointed, I don't think. On a beautiful day too. Look at this, gorgeous.
Or we can mount those at the front of the truck on the way home.
There's my rack right there. So I look like a real
yeah.
mule deer hunter.
Now you do. It's official.
It feels real good to have that off my back. So I've got the deer heart here, and I My original plan was just to wrap it up with a caul fat and just roast it over a fire, but it is really coming down outside with the snow, and so I'm going to take this off, cut it into little pieces, and I'm going to render out the fat in my little bot here, and then we'll fry the heart in the fat. We'll kind of set it over to the side and get it warmed up a little bit. Let that fat start melting out of that membrane. If you do it too quick, it'll burn to the bottom. Gotta get it.
You can hold it in there, because that's what's be pretty quick.
Deer heart going in the grease. Oh, look at that. Let me put that right there. That right there. That's what I'm talking about.
I didn't end up with the buck that I was after, but I ended up with a small buck that'll feed us for a while, legs of iron, and memories that'll last a lifetime. And when it comes right down to it, that's all we could ever really ask for. I hope you guys will join us on our next adventure where we're hunting late season muzzleloader cow elk in the Western Mountains.
Oh.